Good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF. And this is episode 272 on August 25th, 2023. This is 269 weeks in a row. And, today is, I've been really getting into content and technology. And as I always have been in my many years of being here, I've been doing video for over 15 years. And actually probably was the first one in the country to teach people video text. I know that sounds really strange, but I did that at a conference once. But now we're here with Phil Springer, who I believe is one of the, if not the top AI people in the country, especially when it comes to real estate. He's an AI efficiency coach, international speaker, but we'll get more into that. Thanks so much for being on, Phil. I am so excited about this broadcast. Thanks so much for coming.
Man, it's an honor. Thanks for having me. So excited to be with you guys.
I'm glad you're here. And Nelson, let's hit the intro right now. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team. Again, good morning, everybody. Dave Finale here with Real Estate Talk TGIF. This program is brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team, where we work with agents side by side. Yep, I do. Everybody else does. We all work together. We call that the Modern Agent framework, and it really works to help get leads and generate leads and to convert leads. If you're interested in getting more information about that, go to the modernagentexperience.com. Just register for a Wednesday and show up. We'll help you get at least one appointment. That's guaranteed. I don't give you anything if you don't get it. It's just on you if you do the work. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome, Phil Springer, AI and efficiency coach, international speaker, musician, COO mega team brokerage in North Carolina. And one of the things that you say on your site, philstringer.com, is AI ain't going to replace you, but someone using AI will. So
very true.
We'll start with that, but there's one question I need to ask you before we get started. And this is Real Estate Talk TGIF. What does TGIF stand for, Phil?
I'm thinking it's thank God it's Friday.
You're really close.
Am I close?
Yeah, you're really close. It's actually thank God it's finale. So I mean,
there you go.
Okay. I mean, even people that know me get it wrong. No worries there. But it's my broadcast. I might as well call it myself, right?
There you go.
And that was an accident how that happened 272 weeks, episodes ago. But anyway, here we are. So Phil, AI, you run a mega team brokerage in North Carolina, and you've gotten really into this and become an expert. But before we get into that, man, tell me your journey. Tell me your path. Where did you start? I mean, not everybody starts in the passion that they're working in at the present moment. And I know this is a passion for you because I've seen you speak, and just kudos to Fast Forward Movement by Kyle Whistle, Dan Beer, because that's where I've seen you at length, and just great guys to work with. And it's the Fast Forward Movement of eXp Realty. So tell me your path, your journey.
Yeah, my journey, I mean, it's kind of been a little all over the place, but I started off really my first real kind of corporate job, was with GE, General Electric, their money division. So the finance division, where I had a family member who worked there, and he worked there for a while. And so he had some contacts, and I was able to get in, on an entry level at 18 years old. I got in with a sales job. And honestly, I'd never considered sales. I didn't know if it would be something I'd be good at. I feel like with sales, it's either you are really good at it or you absolutely hate it, and you don't want to get into sales at all, right? It's either you love it or you hate it.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, let me jump in. Seems like a good opportunity as an 18-year-old kid, right? Right out of high school. And I succeeded very quickly. And I didn't really even know why, but I quickly, within my first year, became the top sales agent for GE Money worldwide. And I didn't really know why, but I really enjoyed it. I loved sales. I loved talking with people. I loved presenting a product that I believed in, to help people. And that kind of launched my sales journey, I would say. I went from that position to another sales position that was a local sales position. But I ended up going to college, and I actually got a degree in music and worship leadership. I was interested in leading worship and doing music for a church, right? And so I still had the sales background and the business background, but I also now was going into music because that was kind of a passion thing for me. And I was a worship leader at a church full time for 10 years. And there was a team, a mega team in North Carolina. His name's Jason Bramlett, and the team lead, Jason. I've been close with him. He's been a friend of mine. He actually attended the church that I was working at, and he was on the board. And he kind of saw what I had done at GE, right, and heard what I had done, and he knew my personality, and he was like, "Man, you would be great in real estate." And so he'd been trying to hire me onto his operations team. I think it was like 6 or 7 years, and it wasn't the right time for me. And so just a couple years ago, I went to him and I said, "Look, I'm looking for a change. I want to get back into sales. And, is this something where maybe we could consider this? Is this still open?" And he was like, "Absolutely." He said, "I'm looking for a COO, and so he hired me as chief operating officer. And that was my first experience in real estate sales, right? Because I had the sales background, but I hadn't ever done anything in real estate. So I got my license and really just dove into like, okay, I'm going to learn real estate. I'm going to learn what makes this business
Right.
tick so that I can help run this team. And so we've got a team of 30 agents currently in Greensboro, North Carolina. But that's kind of how I got into real estate. Now, the AI piece is really just, I've always loved technology. So I always try and stay somewhat up to date on technology. And when ChatGPT really kind of came out, everyone was talking about AI, and it's just exploded in the last year, right? People don't realize that we've been using AI for decades, but
Right.
now it's such a hot topic because this tool, ChatGPT, is now widely available to so many people, and they have a free sign up version. So, the cost of entry is nothing. And so that exploded the marketing term AI, and now you see AI everywhere. Well, I'm looking at that, and I was so intrigued by some of these tools that were getting really, really good. And I just started to learn them. And I thought, okay, how can I use this to help our team in real estate? Because I see other people using AI, but I don't see anyone in the real estate space using it really, really well at a high level. So I just decided every free moment I had, like I have not turned on a TV in a year and a half, not once, because I've spent all of my time researching and figuring out, okay, what are the best ways that we can use this thing for real estate specifically to grow revenue and to increase efficiency. And so that's why, obviously, I'm a COO of a real estate brokerage. So my natural thought with AI is, how can we use this for real estate?
Exactly.
And that's how it started.
So, all right. So you get into that and you start moving forward. You start looking into AI. Now, you know what? I'm going to ask this. I'm going to bring this up now because this is something that I've started to think about. And because I've talked to a lot of agents, I coach agents, I mentor agents, I have agents on a team. And about 6 months ago, I had a newer agent start telling me about ChatGPT. And I had heard about it, I hadn't used it yet, hadn't become efficient at it yet. And I don't know if anybody ever becomes efficient at it. They just become good at the prompts and how to
Sure.
talk to it and get there. I don't know if you'll agree with that or not. But the point I want to make is I see this as, for some, a shiny bullet. And why do I say that? I only say that because it's going to be, oh, I could use this for this and this, that, and the other thing. And then it's going to derail them
Yeah.
from their journey in the business. So, and that's how I see it for, the old 80-20 Phil. That's my honest feeling.
Sure.
And I mean, if you're using it right and really using it to support what you're doing, it's fantastic. So just give me some thoughts on what I just said about that possibility.
I think it is 100% something that can turn into this rabbit trail.
Yes.
It can be something that can absolutely derail you from what's important. Now, this is true with anything in life, though. If you're not
100%.
prioritizing the high value activities, the things that are going to generate revenue or move the needle in your business, if you're not prioritizing those things and doing those things first, you will get lost in either the fun things that you want to do or some, new tool or new gadget that, oh, this is cool. And what Chat GPT and AI can become very quickly is almost this party conversation. Look at what this thing can do, but it's not something that actually moves the needle and drives revenue. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
And so
does.
my whole purpose with my AI training is, hey guys, AI is cool. And it's neat that I can type in everything that's in my fridge and say, make me something for dinner. And cool, that'll save me time. But I want to know how to use these tools to generate revenue and move the needle for business. And so that's been my focus, because look, I give 10 tools away when I do this, these presentations. I'm always traveling. I'm in Virginia Beach right now. That's why I'm in a hotel room. Just did an event yesterday. 2 days ago, I was in Nashville doing an event. And I always give people my favorite 10 tools right now. Now, AI is changing all the time. So I'm updating that, I'm changing it, tweaking it. But here's the value in doing that. There's thousands of tools right now that are AI, right? AI is such a big thing. They're using it as marketing. So AI is so big right now that there's so many tools, it's overwhelming. And if you're not going to dedicate yourself full time to testing out these tools, you're not going to know which one to use. And so what I'm providing is I'm condensing time for people by saying, hey, look, I've been through the 1,000 tools. Here's 10 that I enjoy right now that do different things. But even so, even though I'm condensing it down to only 10 things, Dave, I am telling people if you do 10 of these, you'll fail. If you start even doing 5 of these 10 right now, you'll fail. And so I tell people, I'm giving you the 10 to show you what's possible and which ones are good. But I want you to pick 1 or 2 out of the 10 that could change your business or move the needle for you and only focus on those things. So if you're good at 10 different things, you're going to lose to 10 people who are great at one thing, right? So I'm telling people, look, just dive deep on 1 or 2 things and have it move the needle for you. Once you get comfortable with that, maybe you can incorporate more. But there's just this with AI tools, it can be overwhelming and it can be the shiny bullet where you're like, ooh, this is cool. And oh, this is cool. And then you don't get anything done.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's just this shiny bullet, and you said rabbit hole, and I'm going to call it information overload,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what it really can be. I mean, look, we're going to put the link up to get those 10 tools you just talked about in a little while. And I'm not going to put it up because I don't want people going there right now. And in the beginning, because I want them to watch, listen, and learn. But the thing is that, it's just like, I mean, what you're giving out, and I'm just going to show it real quick. And it could be a fire hose, and
Yeah.
you've got to be really careful with it. So you talked about getting good at 1 or 2 things. It's just like the old expression: if you work with everybody, you work with no one. If you work with all these tools, you're not going to get great at any of them. All right. Here's the question: which one should everybody start with? Is there one they should start with? Is it ChatGPT?
So it really depends on what they want to focus on. So I would say definitely everyone should be implementing an LLM, which is called a large language model. That's ChatGPT. You've probably heard of like Bing and Bard and those things that are similar. What an LLM is, if someone's listening to this and they're like, okay, what the heck is ChatGPT, right? Because every time I do a conference, there's always people in the room who still have not used it or they don't know what it is.
Absolutely.
And so for me, I like to break it down and say, okay, here's what it is. First off, it was so hard for me to describe it at the beginning when I first started using it. I was like, how do I describe what this is to people? Like, I don't know, you type something in that you want and it does it for you. Like, it's crazy what it can do.
It is.
But I ended up coming up with one way I like to describe it is it's everything that Google wished that it was. It's with a search engine like Google, you type in a question or you type in something and you get static results, a list of static results of articles that could or could not answer your question or give you the information that you want. You have to read through those articles, determine if it actually is answering your question or not, or if it's giving you valuable information. If it's not, you have to go back and find another article in the list. With ChatGPT and LLMs, these large language models, Bing, Bard, you type in a question or you type in a something that you're wanting, and it gives you a conversational response immediately. So you could ask it anything, any simple question. I always, when I'm doing this, I'll say, who won the Super Bowl in 1995? And it always tells you that the Dallas Cowboys won, because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Of course, I would choose that year if I'm going to demonstrate it. But you don't have to go through a bunch of different articles and find the answer. It just gives you a conversational response. And so the power between this and standard search engines is the way an LLM works is it references all of the data it's been trained on. So it's been trained on a massive amount of data, but it also references your request and what you're asking it. And then it provides one word, and then it does all the calculations again to provide the second word. And then it says, okay, based on those two words, what should be the third? And then what should be the fourth? And so it's recalculating every single word that it puts out. To give you an idea of how quickly this program works, there's 175 billion calculations per word that it puts out. So you see this thing work quickly in front of your eyes. The reason why you're getting a different result, like if you were to ask it something and then I were to ask it something, we would get different results because you're going to ask it in a different way and it's going to calculate based on every single word. So you get different responses. You don't get a canned response or a canned static list every time. So with content creation, that's why it's so powerful, because you could say, all right, write me a blog. All right, write me a blog about this topic. Write me a blog that's 1,000 words, 2,000 words. You can specify the length. You could say, give me a summary of this book, and it'll spit out a summary. So you can ask it for anything you want that's text, and it will come back with a conversational response. And so you ask me, okay, what tool to start with? I think that if you were to only pick one, ChatGPT or a large language model would definitely be the one to do. My list of 10 tools are 10 tools outside of ChatGPT, right? So I would probably pick ChatGPT and then look at the 10 that I give and pick one. And it really depends on what you want to focus on, because you may be, in the real estate industry and you say, hey, look, I really want to focus on video. Well, there's an amazing tool in my list for video. Or you could say, hey, I really want to focus on doing like a weekly blog. Or you could say, hey, I really look up to Dave. Dave's my hero. I want to do a podcast like him, right? There's a tool for podcasts. So it depends on what type of media you want to produce, and figure that out, and then just pick, one or two tools and focus on that.
All right. So one of the things you just said is it references all data it has been trained on. Okay. So can you give me a little bit more on what you mean by it has been trained on?
Yeah. So one thing that a lot of people know, and a lot of people don't know how to get around, is there's a limitation with what ChatGPT has been trained on. ChatGPT has been trained on a ton of information from the web, but that information only goes up to September of 2021. So imagine how that can be very detrimental for a real estate agent who's creating content, because it doesn't know what the current market trends are. It doesn't know what current mortgage interest rates are. It doesn't know what the inventory is like in your specific area. So if you ask it, hey, write me a blog about, the current market in, Greensboro, North Carolina, then it's going to write it, but it's writing it from a perspective of 2021 when it was last trained. And so it's very inaccurate. It's talking about low, historically low interest rates and crazy bidding wars and all this stuff.
Right.
And so most real estate agents are using the tool. They find that out and they're like, oh, shoot, this doesn't help me. But the only thing I can use it on now is generic content. And so they get very frustrated and they stop. Well, you can still use it for generic content. Obviously, you can create, hey, is there a benefit of home staging? Should I stage my home or not when I list it? Like things like that don't need up-to-date information. People are still using it for. But there is a tool, and if you're listening to this or if you're watching this, you probably want to write this one down. There's a tool that will connect ChatGPT to current web data, right? So if you were wanting to ask it something about the current market, it would provide that information, and then you write the blog after that. And because ChatGPT references everything that was said in your conversation, it's now going to write it on the information it had just given you when it searched the web. So here's what you want to do. You want to go to the Chrome Web Store. You want to use Chrome as your browser when you're using ChatGPT. You go to the Chrome Web Store and you search for Web ChatGPT, no spaces. So WEB ChatGPT, no spaces. You're going to get 3 results when that happens. The one in the middle with a dark graphic, that's the one that you want. It says Web ChatGPT. You install that extension. And now when you go to ChatGPT, right underneath where you ask it a question, there's now a button that says Web Access. You can turn it on. So for an example, Dave, if I were to go in there now and I said, hey, ChatGPT, who won the Super Bowl in 2022? It's going to say, I'm sorry, my data has only been trained through September 2021. I don't know. But if I turn on Web Access and ask that same question, it references the web before it answers me. And then it comes back and it says, this team won the Super Bowl in 2022, right? Now, I can continue that conversation, and all the content that I create after that is going to be based off of what we just found out. So I could go to ChatGPT, turn on Web Access, and I could say, all right, give me a current full summary of the snapshot of the housing market in Greensboro, North Carolina, including current mortgage interest rates for today's date, current housing inventory report, everything. Give me a full summary. It's going to give me a full summary, accurate information from today, because it takes it from the web. And then if I said after that, okay, now write me a blog about the current, housing market in Greensboro, North Carolina. Instead of giving me all that September 2021 crap, it references everything that's been said in the previous chat. So now it writes a whole article on current market data.
So, all right. So we now know what it's trained up to.
Yep.
We also know how to get around that, which is amazing and mind-blowing in and of itself. So the other thing is, we're going to use a large language model,
Yep.
ChatGPT part, right? LLM. And one of the things that I understand is that if you want it to be like you, or you want it to give you good information, you've got to give it information. So years ago, in the beginning of computers, and the first one I had, its hard drive was 40, wait for it, megabytes. That was a long time ago, right? But still, if you put in crap, it gave you crap. Garbage in, garbage out. GIGO, we called it, right? It's the same thing with these LLMs as well. Is that correct?
100%.
100%. So I didn't mean to cut you off. So how do you train it for you in order to get it going? There's prompts and all that stuff. So explain that if you could.
I would say the number one thing that I would do is I would ask it, and actually the free tool that I give, that PDF that you're going to talk about in a minute here at the end, there is a 10 prompts at the end of that PDF. So I give you 10 tools, but I also give you 10 prompts that you can just copy and paste right into ChatGPT.
Yep.
And they work really, really well. The very first prompt that I give in that free PDF is the most important prompt that you can use. And I would 100% do this before you do anything else. What it is training ChatGPT on how to fully understand your business and your goals. So the prompt, it's a long prompt that we've created, but you copy it, you paste it in, you hit enter, and basically what ChatGPT does is it asks you at least 25 questions that it needs to know to fully understand what your business is about, what market you're in, what's your target audience, who's your current clientele, what are your goals, what's your 5-year goal, what's your 10. It fully understands. So what I'm telling it is, hey, ChatGPT, I want to create content, but I want the content to be specific to my industry, specific to my goals. So ask me whatever questions you need to know. I'm not telling it what questions to ask me. I'm saying ask me whatever you need to know to fully understand my business so that you can create the best content for me possible. So now when you do that, ChatGPT comes back and says, okay, perfect. Question 1, question 2, question 3, and it lists out questions that it needs to know to give you the best content possible. You answer those questions. Now, I like to copy the 25 questions, paste them into like a Word doc or a Google doc, and then I just go in there and I answer whatever I can, as detailed as I can do it. I paste those answers back into ChatGPT. I say, okay, here are the answers to your questions, enter. And now every single thing that I do in that conversation from there on out is going to be specifically based on my business, my goals, my target audience, what I'm trying to accomplish, my market, my price point, everything. the most powerful thing you can do. Now, when you start a new chat in ChatGPT, it does not remember that information. So if you want something specifically for your business, you will go over to that left-hand side. It keeps a history of your conversations, and you just click on that same chat and you say, okay, now create me a video for my business. All right, boom. A week later, you might be like, okay, I want to write a blog. So you go back to that chat and you say, okay, now create me a blog, right? So you can rename the history on the side. There's a little pencil button. So I like to rename it whatever my business is, Stringer Realty or whatever, whatever your business is. And then I refer to that every day. I go back to that conversation and it creates me amazing content.
I use it similarly, and the only thing that's different probably than what I tell it is I give it the edge I wanted to use in the writing. So for me, I'm a bit edgy, I'm a bit blunt. I also can be a bit annoying. So I actually tell it how I want it to sound, what I want it to say, and go through the whole thing. And I will tell you that I'm going to tell everybody it's never, for me, it's never perfect. But the thing that we have to understand is it still needs your tweaking, I believe.
100%.
With blogs and with emails and email series. Yep. And if it's not giving you the content you need, it's not that it's not doing it right. It's just that you didn't give it the information it needed.
So true.
Right? So, all right. So.
Well, and I would just say, if I can piggyback on that.
Yeah.
People think that this thing's a magic bullet and that they're going to type in, all right, write me a blog, and it's going to read their mind and write something 100% perfect where they can copy and paste it in. Like, we have to stop being so lazy. We have to understand this thing is writing this entire blog for us. And we might take a few minutes to go in and tweak stuff, make it sound like us, edit here and there. It's going to get us 80% of the way there, not 100. And so if it gets us 80% of the way there and we have to do 20% of the work to tweak it, we just saved 80% of our time. Like, that's amazing, right? We can't go into this thing and think it's some magic bullet where we hit enter and it spits out perfect information, but it's going to at least save you so much time. And that's the important part of it. We have to just understand, okay, this isn't something that's going to give me perfect output, right?
Right. So, I'll give everybody an example. Is I send that email series every week. And so I'll go in and I'm probably a day or two behind in what I have to do this week. So I will go in and tell it what I wanted to say. I've already started it, but I will update my description, and I will take it, copy and paste it into a Word document, and in 15 minutes, make it sound like me. If it doesn't sound like me already, just change some words here and I give more information. Yeah. But it's going to save me not only the time, but it's going to save me the anxiety of saying, shit, I got to get this done.
Yep.
What am I going to do? I got to go out. It's just like, it's a time saver. And just like I said in the beginning, on your site, it's not going to replace you, but someone using it will, and I think that's just so damned important for people to understand, but you've got to use it to the point of where it makes sense. You've got to give it good information, and it's got to be about you. It's got to be what you're trying to get across. The web access is just, again, I'll say it again, that's a mind blower. So, all right. So some things that you've been able to help real estate agents with using AI, because this is, while we're having a conversation about it, I'd like to give a little bit more as to ideas that you've come up with to use AI for. Now, there's lots of tools that we have, and there's video tools, there's video meeting summaries. I'll just go through them: Opus.pro, Descript.com, Tactio.io, Midjourney.com, Durable.co, and there's so many things that we can use here. And tell me about how different people can be using some of these tools.
Yeah. Well, there's so many different tools. So I could literally just list off, okay, we can do this for real estate. We can do this for real estate. We can do this it might get overwhelming. I actually teach a 12-week AI academy for real estate agents, and we go deep, it's 30 minutes a week, but I'm very, I don't like wasting time. So I'm very concise with the information in those 30 minutes. But I teach real estate agents how to specifically use these AI tools for real estate to generate leads, to create revenue, but if I were to kind of encompass the whole thing, and I don't want to give you like all of these specifics to where you're like, oh man, which one do I choose? I'm confused now. But I would say, in a nutshell, what I'm doing for real estate agents is I am increasing their revenue, I'm increasing their productivity, and I'm increasing their efficiency. The whole point of all of this is to cut off the low value activities that real estate agents are spending so much time doing, so that they're freed up, right? So that they have more time to focus on high value activities and revenue generating activities. For an example, let's say you wanted to do a weekly email newsletter, but you're spending hours crafting these emails every week. Well, what if we could have a tool that would get you that done in a tenth of the time? So now you have several hours just from the email piece back to where you can focus on building relationships or being face to face with your clients and potential clients. So everyone's like, oh, AI is going to cut out the whole human aspect. No, what I'm doing with this is I'm saying, how can we use these tools to cut out all the crap? Because you're not in real estate to be a professional copywriter.
Right.
That's not why you're in real estate. You're in real estate because you're good with people, you're good with relationships, you're probably good at sales. So you should be spending your time, a majority of your time, doing things that are going to move the needle and generate revenue and build relationships and build those human relationships. So this is actually making the transaction more human, because we're cutting out all the crap that weighs you down, that doesn't get you in front of your clients. Does that make sense?
It makes sense 100%. I mean, when you talk about it's you don't have to do the copywriting. I mean, I've read several books on copywriting, and I still suck at it. Right? I mean, it's not something that's really easy. If you don't like to do shit, I mean, a lot of people don't like to read. A lot of people don't like to write. I mean, honestly, I get started and the best tool in the world is dictation. I mean, for me, I mean, that's the best way to go. But I mean, with what you're talking about, it's just like a game changer, So you have this 12-week academy. I'm just putting that up real quick.
Yeah.
To get information on that, guys, go to philstringer.com. We're going to put up the links in a second as we move along, but this is the best place to go to get information on that. And just, to just put this out to everybody, this is where the PDF we've been talking about is, AItoolspdf.com. And it's going to give you really everything you need to know as far as getting rocking and rolling and using this stuff. And I'll give you some insight. And you know what, Phil, talk to me about this PDF. And you said, there's 10 top tools in here. Do they change all the time for you? There's always a top 10 for you?
I've kept a top 10, and, as new tools will come out, if there's a really good one, I'll switch out the top 10 and maybe bump one off and, push another one in. But this is kind of my current list of, hey, these things work. I've used these. I know that these are good tools, just because it's so overwhelming that there's hundreds upon hundreds of tools and you don't know which ones are good or bad. So the benefit here, again, is me condensing time for you, saying, hey, I've already done the research. I've already tried all the tools. These are good. So you get those 10 tools. There's a link on the PDF. So you can just click through to the tool.
Right.
You don't have to be like, oh, what was the name of that one? Or what was the URL? It's all in the PDF. And then those 10 prompts that you can literally just, if you can copy and paste, you're gold. That's all you got to do.
Yep.
And I have everything from, understanding my business, like we talked about, to creating 90 content ideas that your target audience may want to know, creating a complete content calendar, whether that's for a blog, short form video, YouTube channel, podcast, doesn't matter. It'll create an entire, calendar for you, content calendar with these content ideas. I've got things from, crafting the perfect blog post, right? Most people go in and they say, write me a 1,000 word blog on the benefits of home staging. And that'll give you a pretty okay blog. It's not great. That's not how you're supposed to do it. But I've got this long prompt that you copy it,
Yes.
You paste it in, you hit enter, and now you've got an SEO written blog. You've got a whole outline at the beginning. You have headings that look nice, where you have like the big, bold, smaller outline, subheadings. and it's written much better. You have a frequently asked questions section at the end because Google rewards you when you answer people's questions, right?
Yep.
And so all you have to do is type in the title of your blog, and boom, you have an entire blog the way that it's supposed to be written. Even a cool one in there in this PDF, Dave, is that there's one that's analyzed specific text for style and tone of voice. So you can say, basically what the prompt says is, hey, analyze the following text for style and tone of voice, and then apply the same exact style to all future responses in this chat. You paste in something that you've written, email, text, doesn't matter, and it will analyze your voice, and then it'll spit out its content in the future using your voice, which is kind of cool. So there's a lot of different tips and tricks and hacks in this PDF that I give away for free, which hopefully will be very valuable to people.
So you know what? A lot of people have started talking about it actually creating you as the avatar, and all you have to do is put yourself up there. It'll learn how you talk, and you just type it up. Is that something that's working now? Is that something that works today? Aside from one of my favorite apps, which is Synthesia, that I've used. I mean, besides that, or is it Synthesia that does that?
So Synthesia, you upload a 15-minute video of you speaking. Kind of like a headshot video, they recommend, if you can get in front of a green screen and use lighting and a nice camera, that'll give you a better result. But you can upload like a cell phone video, or you can upload like a professional 15-minute video. You have to pay $1,000 for that service, but it will create an AI generated avatar that looks like you, to where you could type something in or paste in text, hit play, and then you're speaking that text, like your video is speaking that text. I still think the technology's gotten really, really good and better over the last few months, but it's not quite there to where it looks fully natural. It kind of looks a little odd to me.
Right.
Now there is a tool that's coming out. I've seen a beta version of this tool probably in the next couple months. It looks pretty dang accurate. So I think this technology is coming. It's probably a few months out before it gets to where it's like, ooh, that actually looks, good. And it's not like, oh, that's awkward.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about a couple of the tools, but I want to talk about one that to me is probably my favorite. And I'll just briefly say why. So I've been doing video for a very long time. So I got into, in the beginning, I mean, it was difficult to edit your video. You needed to buy the software for the most part, because there really wasn't anything free in the beginning. I used a product called Sony Vegas. I don't know if anybody ever heard of it.
I remember it.
But I've used it, and I still have it on another system. Haven't used it in a while, but it was difficult when you had to cut and then paste and then just make it seamless. So where if you had to cut something out, it didn't look like you're like screwed up. But now, I mean, that choppiness is okay. So you're gonna notice what I'm talking about. And as time went on, there was what's the one in iMovie?
iMovie,
right?
yeah, on Apple.
And their Final Cut Pro, which is still a little bit mind-boggling for me, but I'm still using them. But Descript.com for me is just one of the best ones, because it basically says what you say here. It's an easy video editor with text-to-speech, voice clone. But what it does, correct me if I'm wrong, if you've got it'll take and put your script or text out on one side, right?
Yes, correct.
And if you have like a sentence you didn't like, or it sounds like shit and you would have taken it out anyway, all you got to do is highlight it and hit delete.
Yep. And
it takes it out of the video. That when you talked about earlier this week when we had another session, it just blew my mind. I said, now we're in, right?
Yeah.
What out of the list do you have a favorite of one you like, or one you like to use all the time?
I have a favorite pairing. There are two that work really well together for me, and it's in the video realm. It's Descript, like you just mentioned, using that and pairing that with Opus Clip. So what Opus Clip does is you upload any video. It can be horizontal, it can be whatever length, and it cuts it to vertical for, you say, YouTube Shorts, for Instagram Reels, for TikTok, right? It adds in the captions and the emojis that you see on those videos automatically, and it creates a transcription of the video. but it gives you several different options from your long video that you just put in for, say, an Instagram reel. So you might have 12 different 45 to 60-second reel options that came from that video that you uploaded. And then you're like, oh, I like this one, I'm going to post it. So it takes all of that editing work and it just makes a really good product. But then what you can do is you can drag that into Descript, and like Dave said, you got your video on one side, and then it comes up with the transcription of everything that was said on the left-hand side in like a little tiny miniature Word document. And if you go in and you're like, you know what, I don't like this sentence, or I don't like this word, I said and I want to take out you literally just go in there like it's a Word document, hit backspace, delete the text like it's a document. Yeah. And it edits the video based on the words. So you can highlight a sentence, hit backspace, and it edits the video and takes that sentence out. It's really powerful, those two together. Those are probably my favorite.
Honestly, when I saw that, I said, oh, okay. It's just amazing. So tell me, there's a couple of other things I wanted to bring up, and there was this viral video, getting a little bit off the AI realm here, that I believe you were the only passenger on a plane.
Correct.
Talk to me about how that happened. I mean, this video was amazing. Talk to me about how that happened.
Oh man, it's I was flying from Oklahoma City back home to Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was speaking at an event, doing an AI presentation in Oklahoma City. And my flight was supposed to leave. It was supposed to depart at 6 a.m. So it was an early thing. I get to the airport really early. Well, while I'm going through security, I get a notification on my phone that the flight's been delayed 2 hours. Fine, whatever, it happens. So I decide, okay, I got through security. There's a Starbucks right there when you get through security in the Oklahoma City airport. I got a coffee. I sat down. I was like, I'm just going to work for a couple hours. Okay. Well, an hour or so passes and I get another notification. There's another 2-hour delay, and it gets delayed and delayed. I think it was 7 different delays for a total of 18 hours.
Holy crap.
So I checked to see if there was any other flight combination that I could do. And they said, the only thing we can do is get you home the next morning. I had a meeting that morning that I had to be in North Carolina for. So I was like, I'm just going to stick it out and see if I get home tonight. Right. So I worked from that Starbucks area in the Oklahoma City airport, never went to my gate for 18 hours. And finally, there's no one around. It's 11:30 at night and nobody's around me. This airport worker starts walking through and she looks at me and she goes, oh, you must be that Charlotte flight. And I was like, yeah. She said, your plane's finally here. Because apparently they were doing maintenance on the plane in Nashville, trying to get it to Oklahoma City. And she said, you might want to make your way to the gate because, you probably start boarding. I was like, all right. So I finish up what I'm doing, kind of slowly pack up my stuff. I walk to the other side of the airport, which is where my gate was. Keep in mind, I haven't been to my gate yet all day. And I walk to the gate. Nobody is at my gate, not a single soul, only one person, the gate agent for American Airlines. And I look at her, I was like, oh my gosh, did you guys already board? Am I the last one on? And she goes, no, honey, you're the only passenger on this flight. Everyone else had given up. So they called in the flight crew, the pilot and the four hosts, and they called them in from the hotel. They were at their hotel sleeping to do this flight for one human. And so we had fun with it. I recorded the process and posted it on TikTok. I think it's got 65 million views. It absolutely went crazy. It was all over the news. Today's Show, Good Morning America, Inside Edition, A&E's doing some episode on it. It's been ridiculous.
Wow. And I guess I could help you a little bit with the, with the publicity. So where do you go from here? Where do you go from here with AI and what you're doing? Talk to me about your plans and how you're going to be able to help people even more.
Yeah. What I want to do, Dave, is I want to reduce the overwhelm when it comes to AI, because there's so many things out there. People are confused about it. They don't know where to start. 95% of us are not like these huge techie AI people. We just want someone to talk to us like we're 5 years old and to condense time for us and be like, here, start here and do this. This will help you, right? Majority of people don't want some crazy, okay, you should do this with coding and, all of the high-end tech stuff. We just want to understand, hey, as a normal person, what do I implement? What can I start with? And so I think that's been my journey, is just to go around, real estate agents for sure, but this applies to any industry. Everything I'm teaching applies to any industry on how can I just reduce this barrier of entry and make it not as scary and confusing to where people don't think, oh man, AI is going to lose my job, but they think, wow, I have an opportunity to do something no one else is doing yet. So I can run circles around my competition and, differentiate myself from them. So that's the whole purpose of my 12-week academy is, hey, come on into the academy. I'm going to break it down for you, in a concise 30 minutes a week. You're going to learn really, really high-end information, and you're going to learn how to generate revenue, save time, increase your efficiency and productivity, and separate yourself from your competition because nobody's doing it. So I just had a guy secure a $1.5 million listing because of what he learned in one of my Tuesday classes. And he said, look, they interviewed 9 other agents for this property. And when I told them that I was in an AI academy to get a certification, that blew their mind that I was forward thinking enough to continue to invest in myself. They said, no one else is in an AI academy trying to figure out how to utilize new technology for their business. That shows us that you're our guy. And so he got the $1.5 million listing because he was, focused on improving himself. So I feel like learning AI is something that can differentiate yourself from your competition. It's part of your value proposition. And that is my goal, is to give people something that can make them different. Use it in a different way than all other people are using it, to write an email or a Facebook post or whatever. But how can we do this to generate revenue?
And I think that's that's the most important thing, because we don't want to go down the freaking rabbit hole that takes us hours. We want to take this process, this product, whatever it is, whatever tool you're going to use, we want to take it and have it accentuate us, augment our business, just to give us more. Because let's face it, man, I mean, this business of real estate hasn't changed in 50 some years or more. The only thing that has changed is technology. And the other thing we know is that there's adopters, there's early adopters, there's people that get in because they have to. And honestly, those people, the ones that have to get in because they have to, are the ones saying, well, I don't want to do social media. Well, maybe I should. They're still out there from years ago. I remember 12 years ago saying to agents in my company, the ROI of social media is that you won't be in a business in 5 years.
Right.
Almost came 100% true.
Yeah.
And it's going to be there again. And as I said twice already, it's not going to replace you, but someone using AI will.
Well, you think about the internet, Dave. Like, you've been in real estate long enough to where before the internet, what was the MLS for you?
Books and pages every day.
Exactly. So if you didn't evolve with technology, Dave, and you didn't implement the internet, would you be in business today?
No.
Right. And so this is the biggest technological advancement since the internet. And people will soon find out that those who are using AI are going to be able to create so much more content, so much quicker. They're going to save so much time, and they're going to be able to give their clients a way better experience that they will be left behind. It's just a matter of time that the AI-powered agent replaces the everyday agent. And it's the truth.
Absolutely. I mean, I was doing pay-per-click on Google when it was 3 cents and 5 cents for, that town name real estate. I mean, and then I had agents saying the lead sucked. I mean, something's never changed, but
right.
But you've got to be able to embrace it. I mean, no one says you've got to have this love affair with it, where it's the only thing that you're going to do and only thing you're going to talk about. But understand the idea first, the concept second, and the actual use of it third. And what I mean by that is, look, if you ask anyone in this business, and you can go from the top agents to the highest producing agents, anything you see, if you ask them, say, look, man, I need a deal in a week. I need a listing in a week. How, gun to my head, how am I going to get it? They're going to say, use this thing, the 700-pound phone, right? Now, with the way you structure your call and the way you structure your interest in how you show value, your values in questions, no question about it. But the questions can include this thing called AI. For sure. In certain ways that it works. And that's one of the things that we have implemented into our scripts and dialogues and all that stuff. Not only, and that's what I meant by this theory of the process, the product. And that's what I meant by it. And it's just so cool to use it, because when you say it, have you thought about using AI in how you're trying to sell your home? That's not really the script, but it's just a thought, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's like, wait a minute, what the hell's that? What's that about?
Exactly.
It was like 2 years ago, and still now, have you considered the virtual real estate market?
Yep.
So it's just so cool. Hey, man, you know what? This has been really cool. I mean, we talked about a lot of different things today.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I missed that we didn't talk about?
I don't think so, Dave, but I think if I were to wrap all of this up in kind of just one final statement, I would say that it's all about leverage. The one with leverage is going to be the one who wins. Leverage is when you get the most output for minimal input. If you can maximize your output with minimal input, then you're going to win. It's just like an investment, right? A financial investment, a time investment. But what AI does is you use it as a companion to help you create more leverage. So if you can create way more output by using AI as a companion, and you're keeping your input at the same level or reducing your input and getting more output, you're creating more leverage for your business. And the one with the most leverage is the one that wins.
So hopefully people that are watching this and will watch this have listened this far in, because that was the gold nugget of everything. We can talk about the tools, we can talk about all that other shit, but that was the answer of the day and the answer of this broadcast. Hey, man, this has been really cool. I've really enjoyed talking with you. And, again, I want to kudos out the Fast Forward movement, Kyle Whistle, and all the hundreds of people over at that movement that work through us. And if you have any questions about that, please let me know. If you want to see how we're utilizing it, our Wednesday sessions are open, which is modernagentexperience.com to register. I just got a couple other things, Phil, if it's okay with you. The first thing is really the most important question for me of the day is, how can I help you grow your business?
How can you help me? I think you've done it, Dave, man. Just being able to connect with you through the Fast Forward thing. We didn't know each other before. And so I'm happy to, now know you and connect with you. I think we can both help each other. But talking with you, man, has been amazing. And I mean, I think the real reason that I'm on the podcast and what I was really wanting from you, right?
Shit, you knew that, right?
I definitely heard about it.
Here it is, the hat.
That's what I want.
It's coming, man. It's coming. It's the hat. It's the
Dude,
hat.
I wear a hat in the gym. Whenever I go to the gym, I wear a hat. It's just my thing. So I've been looking forward to this hat because I'm gonna be repping the blue hat in the gym. So
there you go, man. Hey, man, I want to thank you so much for being on. Hey, guys, everybody, next week, we're shifting gears here. We've got Juan Rivera, who's a regional vice president here in New Jersey of Christie's International. He's going to talk a lot of different things, but he's a really cool guy and really knows what he's doing and knows what he's talking about. So that's going to be fun, and he'll be with us next week. Hey, man, I want to thank everybody for coming on, and just hang out with us for 2 more minutes while we go off. Everybody, will see you next week for episode 273. Hit it, Nelson. Hey!